Election boycott in 1964 tells the same story. But they have banned history in your schools, and those won't teach you that in schools. Awolowo called for boycott of elections. Yoruba people were talking nonsense on Facebook. Just like some Yorubas we are saying, oh, Nnamdi Kanu, he ran to Israel. And do you know the funniest thing? That Wole Soyinka was also in Israel when Abacha was pursuing him. They never came to his house, but he ended up in Israel. But because Yorubas control the media, they use, you know, that sometimes our people, especially in Lagos and Abuja, they're one of the most useless set of people in the whole world. Because they always want to please Tunde, their friend. They want to be seen as belonging. So the only way they can be seen as belonging is to castigate their own people, to run their own people down, so they can find acceptability within their peers among the Yoruba flock. Or the Fulani flock, so to speak. Referendum is called a plebiscite. It is nothing new in the zoo. Some of you may be very shocked to know this. Do you know that Atiku Abubakar is from Cameroon? His area of Adamawa used to be in the Cameroon, and out of plebiscite they joined them to the zoo called Nigeria. Are you aware of that? No, you don't know. But now I'm telling you. They used to be part of Cameroon. They had a plebiscite. They had the common sense to join the zoo, Nigeria. Whereas our own cousins, you know how sensible we are. We Biafrans, we are so smart. At the end of the day, look at Ambazonia. They opted out. They said no, we want to be part of Cameroon. You know that thing, it's autonomy. They want to be autonomous from their own kith and kin. Today they are being slaughtered like cattle all over the place in Ambazonia. But the same plebiscite was held in Adamawa. Atiku Abubakar and his people chose to be Nigerians and not Cameroonians. Do you see how the wheel turns? So there's been referendum before and plebiscite. That was even how the the Midwest was formed. Some of you that know Midwest, the Midwest region in those days. We must also realize at this point in our struggle that what this boycott essentially represents. Mobilization in all sections and within all nationalities in Biafra must be seen as a major part of our project, and this should involve also our professional groups, the academia, and our general populace. Our boycott of the presidential election is an indirect referendum, and therefore should be considered a major assignment between now and the 9th of 16th of February 2019. Nothing can be more powerful than the human spirit, especially when they all come together as one and in pursuit of the same goals and ideals. We as a people have the right and the duty to make these sacrifices, both moral and religious, not just for our own preservation in our time, but for the preservation of those who are unborn. That we are standing under a shade today means that somebody must have planted that tree very many years ago, or that nature decreed that it must be there. That is why we must continue relentlessly to ensure that the boycott is total and complete if you want the evil happening in the zoo to stop. Some of you don't know this, but I will tell you. Do you know that when DSS in Nigeria arrests anybody, they come to your house, they steal your private personal properties, even that belonging to your wife and your children. They take it to DSS headquarters in Abuja and they share it amongst themselves. They come to your house to arrest you for something and they carry your cars. They take your cars and they share it amongst themselves. Do you know that? That is the same country you want to go out. And I know that some people will say, oh, why didn't you go out and vote for Atiku? He will change all of that. But you said the same thing, exactly the same thing about Jubril. Now Jubril, but then it was Buhari before his death. You have said the same nonsense about every incoming president till this very day. Nothing ever changes. So that is why sometimes I wonder. if we black people are cursed. I don't know. If you take the recent experience of Justice Onogen and others before him, you will understand that what is unfolding before us today is a grand agenda that is at least 200 years old. It is the grand design of the Caliphate founders, going all the way back to Othman Dan Fodio. It is a grand design that the gallant heroes of the January 15, 1966 revolutionaries tried to stop, but most people misunderstood them. It is a grand design that has been at the center of the trouble with the zoo called Nigeria. This is the grand design that confronts us all today as Biafrans. This is the grand design that must be defeated for the black man everywhere on this planet to finally be free, because it is true that in black Africa, or should I say that in Biafra, Africa died. And Africa can only rise up with Biafra. Even our enemies don't know this. I've been asking everybody all the time, do you know about any Fulani inventor that invented anything? The answer is no. How about a Fulani scientist? The answer is no. Is there any eminent Fulani scholar in secular studies, not in Arabic studies? The answer is no. Then I keep asking myself, why all this stampede all the time to elect a Fulani man when they have contributed absolutely zero to the advancement of the zoo called Nigeria? Only in Biafra will Africa resurrect, of course, by the grace and the power of Chukwokika Abiyama Purumi Henina. Which I ended in a video. We are not on video. I'm a clear my ban as I come. My video. It's Radio Biafra. You know, we are slightly unorthodox. We do things differently from other people. We are coming to you live and direct on this second day of February in the year of the Most High Elohim 2019. The time now is 8 minutes past the hour of 6 p.m. here in the evening in London at our studios. My first broadcast for nearly 4 years from this very place. It is no secret that Jubril, whom some of you idiotically call Buhari, is the arrowhead of the unfolding grand design of the Fulani to dominate the whole of the Sahel region. If anyone is still in doubt as to this design, the recent rally in Kanu by Jubril, this rally attracted 2 serving Fulani governors from Niger Republic. Their attendance should send a very clear message to you. I also saw very early this morning Nuhu Ribadu trying to defend what is in essence indefensible, saying that people from the Sahel can come to the north without passport, without visa. They can do as they please. Essentially, most of them have houses in Niamey, which is the capital of Niger Republic, because that's where some of them come from. It has never been about Nigeria, but it is always about what is best for the Fulani from the beginning. Nnamdi Kanu never saw this. Mazin Bono Jike saw it and warned him, but he refused. You know, he's an intellectual. He was an Igbo man, an intellectual. And he wanted to build this utopian Nigeria where there will be love, peace, and progress. But it is practically impossible. You can't have love, peace, and progress with people who do not understand the meaning of it. What are the implications of the activities of Jubril for the sovereignty of the zoo called Nigeria? We all know that Yoruba land, as we know it, extends into Dahomey in the present-day Benin Republic, and even to parts of Togo, where, incidentally, they speak Yoruba as a language. Can anyone imagine the angst that would have accompanied the alliance of mainstream Yoruba politicians with their counterparts in Benin Republic and Togo? All hell would have broken loose everywhere. Fulani would have complained from now to high heavens. Ironically, the Yoruba media is once again shamefully silent in their support and acquiescence to this very charade and breach of the supposed sovereignty of the zoo we call Nigeria. Fulani people are allowed to get away with all manner of excuses, all manner of nonsense, because they are in a position to subdue every nobody they call a Nigerian. They occupy all sensitive positions, nobody is complaining. They have taken nepotism to a new level, nobody is complaining. Everything they dominate and they control, nobody is complaining. And all the Yoruba does is to say, as long as you give us the presidency in 2023, you can kill, you can loot, you can pillage, there is no problem. Fulani are being allowed to get away with these excesses because they have subdued everybody. Nigeria has effectively become a Fulani caliphate before our own very eyes. The undue influence of Yoruba Muslims in the affairs of Yoruba land will mark the end of them as a great race. I've said this and I'll keep saying it. The Yorubas, their punishment will come last, and it will be even far more devastating than that witnessed by any other ethnicity. They should mark my words. The Yorubas have not learned from history. The Afonja and Janta Alimi saga is still there. The Abiola humiliation is still there. Ironically, most people hardly learn from any of these past histories, even though we all know that history could easily repeat itself. We know that what the Fulani want, as they have been commanded, is to dip their Quran into the sea, and with the help of Biafran politicians, they are on their way to achieving that. They will plunder our resources like an invading force while enslaving everyone with the help of those that you call your leaders in Ohaneze and your governors, which incidentally they all planted themselves. Having overpowered most of Nigeria and brought them to their heels, Biafra land is the final target they have set their sights on as the only subsisting obstacle to their grand design. They are therefore converging on Biafra land like vultures. The vast hydrocarbon deposits in Biafra land, which is oil and gas for us, is seen by them as their gift from their great-grandfather Otman Domfodio and their God. Luckily for them, the so-called South-South political leaders are so naive that their impotency and misguided antagonism towards the Igbo has paved the way for complete caliphate domination of the Bight of Biafra. But everyone must go back to history and learn from it. Historically, the Fulani are enslavers. They had historically enslaved black people for the benefit of the Arab slave traders. They had almost historically raided numerous peace-loving communities and sent them into enslavement in the transatlantic slave trade for the Europeans. They are very poised to continue their old ways till this very day. The Hausa, Yoruba, and several other ethnic groups who have progressively lost their lands to the Fulani can all learn from their history if they desire freedom. But freedom flows through the veins of every Biafran from historical times to the present times. That is one covenant that we have with Almighty Chukwukika Biama. That is why it was Biafrans who took it upon themselves to liberate enslaved Africans during the era of slavery in the Americas. That is why you cannot discuss any topic of liberation and attempted liberation during the enslavement of Africans in the Americas without talking about the Biafrans who led these liberation efforts. That is why Haiti could not be free until a Biafran, Dottie Buckman, an Igbo man for that matter, led the Haitian Revolution against the French, a revolution that engendered the second independent country in the Western Hemisphere, second only to the United States of America, in 1804. Leading to the eventual independence of the whole Latin America, with Biafran Haitians fighting in all these wars. That Biafrans liberated Haitians and other South Africans was why Haiti recognized Biafra. We abhor slavery. And on the 16th of February, we must make sure that the world understand that we have freedom coursing through our veins, because Biafra must come. Remember that by 1904, the Fulani were busy enslaving other black people and also taking over their land, especially the houses. Biafrans at the same period were making sure that wherever black people were being enslaved, that they were liberated and regained their freedom with dignity. In other words, while the Fulani enslaved black people, Biafrans liberated them. Exactly what we are going to do on the 16th of February. In fact, this truism is one of the guiding logics of present-day IPOB self-determination activities. Freedom is the overriding value of Biafrans. Culturally and historically, that's how we are born, to be free. Freedom is what we offer the wonderful men, women, youth, and children of Biafra today. Freedom is what we offer the numerous ethnic groups who are still trapped in the damnable zoological republic. That is why we must boycott. That is why we must sit at home on the 16th. And that is why our referendum must be a success, because Biafra must be free. And I thank you all for listening.